Hello and welcome to Language of the Soul podcast. I'm your host, Dominic Domingo.
And I'm your co-host, Virginia Grenier.
We'd like to invite you to sit back, relax, and enjoy some inspiring conversation. Here at Language of the Soul, we know that life is story. Individually, we're the products of the stories we tell about ourselves. Culture is the amalgamation of the stories we weave about the human condition. Here's the thing. Individually and collectively, we can write our own story. Thanks for tuning in and joining in the march toward human potential. Hi guys, and welcome to Language of the Soul podcast, where life is story. This episode is a follow-up to one we did our first season, I believe, pretty early on. It was what we called a roaming podcast at CTN Expo, Creative Talent Network Expo. That was about 2 years ago, I believe, and we're following up with a similar roaming podcast, only we won't be roaming so much as sitting at our own booth. We have a presence at the convention this year. I've been involved with CTN, and I'll explain what it is in just a moment, since its inception. I've participated in some capacity for 16 years. This is the 17th year. Whether I present, or I'm part of a panel discussion, or a demonstration, or a lecture, or even when I get a booth and sell my own wares, I've had some presence in one capacity or another throughout. Again, we did a roaming podcast 2 years ago, but this is the first time we actually have our own booth as a podcast. In short, CTN was initially a network, as the name implies, or a collective. Early on, I believe it was meant to be an agency of sorts, like a lot of online platforms where you can upload your portfolio and you can, in theory, get work. Okay, basically, here's the backstory. When I left Disney around 25 years ago now, blows my mind, we all just kind of found ourselves out there in the field floating around. And I was at Andreas Deja's Christmas party. Andreas is one of the people that I interviewed during our last roaming podcast, actually, at this convention. We got pretty lucky. I just snagged interviews with some of my colleagues that I saw wandering around. One was Don Hahn, the producer of Lion King, Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast, and many others. Another was my friend Andreas Deja, who I would argue is one of Disney's most legendary animators. He's known for being lead animator on all the villains: Scar, Jafar, Gaston, Triton, who's not really a villain, and then the more idealized male characters like Hercules. Anyway, he had just premiered his beautiful short film, if you haven't seen it, called Mushka. The premiere was at CTN. So I grabbed him after the premiere and got a really nice interview with him, and then with his partner Roger, who was producer of Mushka. Basically, they got a whole 2D animation studio going at home from the ground up. So anyway, those were a great couple of interviews, and then I got an interview with Ed Gertner, who's a layout artist and an art director, another Disney legend. So we hope to recreate the magic this year, but the real point is Andreas had this Christmas party, and more than anybody else at Disney, including the Animation Research Library, Andreas is the only one who's in touch with anyone connected to the Disney legacy who's still alive. So going to his Christmas party is like a who's who. You'd see the voice of Mowgli, for example. And of course, I grew up on The Jungle Book. My dad was smart enough to take us. I've said this before on the podcast, so I'm kind of repeating myself. But one of the things he really did right was he took us to the drive-in or to the regular cinema for all the 10-year re-releases of the Disney classics. So I was just the right age to catch Jungle Book in the theater and Sword in the Stone and Aristocats and a number of others. But I'd also read Rudyard Kipling's Jungle Book and just was in love with it. And so here I am at Andreas' Christmas party, and oh, there's the voice of Mowgli. And he's not an old man, he's just a dude. And, I'd see Tinkerbell. The Sherman Brothers would sit down to the piano and play It's a Small World the way it was originally written, much slower and more melodic, more poetic. So one year at the Christmas party, I was approached by a colleague named Tina Price. And she basically said she just wanted to get the family back together post-layoff. Again, we were all kind of just bobbing around out there, and her words were, "I just want to get the family back together." So I took Tina's invitation, and I uploaded my portfolio, and I've never really gotten any work from it, but the first year, straight out the gate, she started up what's called CTN, Creative Talent Network Expo. And straight out the gate, the first year, it became the largest animation convention in the world. So again, I've participated every year since in some capacity, and I just find it wonderful not only to see my colleagues, my family, but I see 20 years of former students. They're now either working in the field or working their dream jobs, but some of them are maybe haven't found their footing, and they just come for, to adopt some new skills or maybe just for inspiration. So it's definitely a reunion, and I just have many warm, fuzzy feelings around this convention. Okay, I think I've over-prefaced. So again, we got some pretty stellar interviews in the past, and we're hoping to recreate the magic. Oh, I thought I'd add also, not only are we looking to interview some of my colleagues, icons and legends, but it's really interesting to also interview emerging artists or greener artists, maybe even students, aspiring animation artists, and just say, hey, what brings you to CTN? You know, from Germany, for God's sake. People come from the world over with their portfolios in hand. So whether it's somebody that may be working in TV animation, but they aspire to feature, or maybe they're currently working, but they just want to learn a little bit more and grow, augment their skill set, learn a new skill, or just hobnob, network, rub elbows. And often, I mean, it's not quite Comic-Con, but some aspiring animation artists just come to meet their heroes and be inspired by lecturers or artists whom they admire. Okay, yeah, so we've heard it all. We interviewed quite a few greener artists last time, and we hope to do the same. I guess we're off and running with some roaming interviews, although again, we're more stationary than we were in the past. Okay, enjoy. Hello.
Hello.
And welcome welcome to our booth. Thank you for stopping by.
My pleasure.
I know very little about you. I know that I met you on Facebook, and then you looked strangely familiar when I saw you earlier today, and now I know why. But for our listeners, maybe just tell us what brings you to CTN, your name, first of all,
Certainly.
and what brings you to CTN.
Hi, I'm Debbie Weiss. I'm the owner of Wonderful of Animation. We've been around since 1993, and I have a booth at CTN. I've had a booth here for, I don't know, 15, 20 years, a long time. And it's a delightful show.
This is the 17th year, by the way.
17th?
Mm-hmm.
I've been here a long time. So
right.
I guess I haven't had a booth for 20 years because that wouldn't make any sense. And it's a delightful show. Friendly people, animators, great presentations of people, animators you've heard of. Aaron Blaze shows up, Willie Ito's here, Andreas is usually walking around, and if you're very lucky, you will see him, and he's very friendly. He comes by our booth. I love it when he comes by because he looks around, he's like, so-and-so did this, and he just flips through, and it's like, this. It's just like this encyclopedia.
He's amazing.
And it's a delightful show, so if you're available and you're near Burbank, California, you should come by. It's a very cute show.
Through Sunday, right?
Yes. I'm only here today, but the show usually runs Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Right. Yeah, we're only here today and tomorrow. Mike Giamo is here this year. Did you know that?
I did not.
Yeah, art director of Pocahontas. That's where I got to know him. But the entire Frozen franchise. So this place is crawling with Disney legends,
Yeah. Oh, here's a quick fun story. Josh Gad, voice of Olaf, was a dad at my kid's school. Really nice guy, down-to-earth kids. He's and he's so funny. He's like super
hoot.
funny.
Yeah, he's great. Yeah, I've seen him on talk shows. He always delivers. He's always right.
Yeah, and he's that fun in real life.
I believe
it's not
yeah.
just an act. Like, Josh is super fun.
So tell us again, what exactly is your presence here? What is your booth? What is your booth all about?
Sure. So we specialize in original production animation art with a super specialty in Disney. So if you were to come by our booth today or our gallery, we have a gallery by appointment in Koreatown, or you can stop by our website, which is www.gallery.com. I can't speak. www.gallery.com. We have about a couple thousand pieces. So, for example, when you come by later, Dominic, you'll see original production drawings from Sleeping Beauty of Briar Rose from 1959.
Wow.
So we have things like that. I'm not sure 100% what Rob, my archivist, brought, but certainly in inventory, I have things from Lady and the Tramp. I have things from Pinocchio. I have things from Snow White. I have things from Plain Crazy and Steamboat Willie. You get the idea.
Wow.
For this booth, we don't tend to do it online because it's a lot of work to process all the art. But at the booth, we always have like specials. So we have art for $10. We have art for $20. I'd be like, why? Why so cheap? Here's what happens. Somebody comes to me and says, I have 1,000, cells, things like that. I'm able to get a good deal because it's so many. And then at shows, it's fun. It's fun to come by. There's a lot of students here. They love the art. They can't afford $1,000, Briar Rose drawing or a $2,000 this, but most of them have $10, $20, $50, and it's really nice to see how their eyes light up. They love this art. They probably never thought they could afford a piece, and they get to take home a few pieces of original art, and it's really a joy.
Yeah, that's awesome because, I have sold art through, not Sotheby's, what's the name of Heritage?
Yeah.
And that's like a whole different story. I mean, there were online auctions that are more democratic and doable, but within reason, my background's from Lion King, Pocahontas, Hunchback, Tarzan. I would look at the Sotheby's catalog every year and go, holy crap. You'd have to mortgage your house to buy that. Yeah.
Do I want this in my closet or would I like a new car? Which one should I have?
Right. It's completely out of the stratosphere. So I like that you're making it more democratic. Where do you get your artwork, out of complete curiosity?
I get asked that a lot. Pretty much, I've been doing it for so long, and our website has a really strong presence. People come to us. So people show us art almost on a daily basis. Some of it's a fit, some of it's not.
They come in and...
Yeah, or a lot of time online. I've bought art from Australia. I've bought art from Canada. People Google, and we're well known and well regarded, which is nice because we work hard to have a good reputation, and they just come to us, and that's really wonderful. So, like most recently, I bought an animator's estate, and it had a ton of Robin Hood drawings.
Robin Hood?
Yeah,
wow.
And what's nice is there's at least I haven't come across a ton of many Robin Hood drawings.
No, yeah, I haven't seen many. Yeah,
and so all of a sudden. Now, it looks like there's a ton because I've got a ton. And what's wonderful is there's some in there that I never like to say. People go, who did this? I don't like to say for sure. I'm not in the room with them. The animator's passed away. But there's things that I would tell you are most likely Milt's, which is the Holy Grail, right?
Right.
And then there's a lot that I would guess are Lounsbury's. And sometimes John Lounsbury's and Milt's look very similar. Again, I've even shown some of these drawings to big names, and some of them think it's Milt, some of them. Last thing I would do is tell you this is a Milt for sure, and then a big name animator goes, no, I think it's Lounsbury. You're upset with me, so I just say my best guess is, but I don't like to guarantee that. And what's also exciting when you buy something like an animator's estate is it's almost like finding a lost treasure. No one thought that art was there. Right? And all of a sudden, if you were to buy a Robin Hood drawing for me, you're the first person to have it in your collection. And so I just feel like I found this. I'm like one of those movies, right? Those treasure hunting movies. And all of a sudden, here's stuff that no one thought existed. So to me, that's the most exciting thing. You want to hear some stories?
Absolutely.
Of some art I've gotten?
Yeah.
Okay, I can tell you some fun stories.
Sorry, let me make sure I understand. Do you regularly visit estate sales of animation artists, or it just comes your way?
It comes my way.
Tell me the story.
I'm not aware of there being regular estate sales for animation, but if you know of some, then hook me up.
I do hear about them from time to time, and I can't always make it. I'm trying to remember. There was a big one a while back, and it wasn't. All the 9 old men have passed, right?
Yeah,
but I feel like it was one of those guys. Who is Andres' biggest influence? Is it Milt Kahl?
Andres is a big Milt fan.
I feel like when did Milt pass?
I don't know that at the top
I
of my
think
head.
there was a huge estate sale. I might be misspeaking.
Okay.
But anyway,
you and I can talk offline after.
Absolutely.
I definitely want to know more
Okay, so
about
what's
this.
your biggest
Okay.
find?
Well, I have a few stories. So when you first start, and this is really when the internet was just starting, because I've been around that long and I'm that old. It was probably around 30 years ago. This lady from Alaska contacted me, and she had Snow White concept art. Now, back then, concept art was not as sought after as it is now. What I've noticed is when I first started, people wanted cells. They wanted the Lane Tramp cell, the things that they
Production
recognize.
art. Yeah.
And the drawings were kind of like, drawings. They're not in color. And so what basically happened is I didn't collect. I started collecting, and I was like, I want the cells. I want what it looks like. And then I'm being interviewed right now, so let me come back to you. This is my friend Rick Farmelo.
Oh, hey.
Who's interrupting my
Hi, how are you?
podcast. He's a wonderfully talented animator.
She was
for
just
Disney.
singing your praises, by the way. Okay, go.
And so anyway, and concept art, I feel that a lot of people, animators are different because you guys have this appreciation for the drawings and the animators and things like that. But I'll call it more regular collectors, I find they often go on a journey. They start with the cells, that's what they recognize. Then they get an appreciation and a love for the animation, like, oh, I like a drawing because that's really where this character started. Wait a second, concept art? I didn't really know about concept art because they didn't have that in the Disney store or at Disneyland and things like that. And they go down this journey, and I have definitely seen the drawings and the key drawings explode.
Can I interrupt real quick?
Of
I know
course.
you're getting to some juicy stories, but there was a push too, like even in live action, art direction, which we call production design now, right? Art direction, previs, visual development, and animation. Yeah, nobody, the art of books, that kind of started the ball rolling of people appreciating the pre-production art.
I could see that.
And then there was a documentary that Bob Cotto and I were both interviewed for, and it was literally one estate trying to increase the value of their collection by making a documentary to get the public interest on the concept art. Isn't that interesting? So I've kind of seen that the public is generally more savvy now and more appreciative, for sure.
Yeah, for sure, because the concept art, most times, it doesn't quite look like the character, so the comfort level.
Well, it shouldn't. It should be lateral exploration, I call it, yeah.
Exactly. Someone like you doesn't need an explanation for that, but a lot of typical collectors who see the art for the first time,
they want it to look like the film they're familiar with, right?
Yeah, so it doesn't feel familiar to them, and so they need some time to warm up to it. So this lady contacts me. I buy a bunch of Snow White concepts. The one that got away, there was a queen, which she's not in there for very long at all.
Yeah.
Queen with the puma, and the
Is
puma
the queen the same as the witch?
The queen turned into the witch later on.
Okay.
So the queen as queen form, only a little bit. Then poof, witch, and the witch for the rest of it. So finding art from the queen is very rare. Because if you just do simple math.
Was she beautiful like Maleficent? I feel like she was that 30s kind of beautiful. Wasn't she a beautiful queen?
Well, I guess that's subjective. I mean, she was jealous of Snow White, so
I'm
I guess.
Google it. Okay.
Yeah, we'll Google it. You and I will have some conversations after this. But I get this art. I kept a few pieces for myself, which I still have, and the rest went to, at the time, the largest collector in the world. And I thought the art was cool, and I really wanted to, develop a relationship, with this collector and everything like that. 30 years later, I've never gotten anything like it. And you just don't know, right? When you're starting, you're like, oh, this is cool. You want to hear a story about James Gandolfini, the guy from Sopranos?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's
Only
not Disney.
If it's really dark. Is there mafia in this story?
No, nobody was killed that I know about. But it is kind of fun. You want to hear
Absolutely.
it? Okay. So when we had the gallery at the time in Beverly Hills, a storefront, James walked in, but he didn't look like himself. He looked kind of scruffy because he was doing a movie where he had a beard and all this.
Before The Sopranos. I'm sorry, I didn't catch the year.
I think it was a while ago. Maybe it was like 20 years ago.
Okay.
It was during Sopranos, but like off-season Sopranos. So he was making a movie in between. So he didn't look like him. He walked in. It's very scruffy, and I'm like, oh, because I read people. So it's like, oh my God. I go, that's James Gandolfini. I'm like, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? I was like, act normal. What's normal? I couldn't remember what normal was. So James come in. I'm like, hi, James. How can I help you? And he was looking for some art. And then, so he's looking for some things as gifts because he was wrapping up his filming. And then all of a sudden he gets a call to go back to set. And he's like, do you guys mind coming over to Culver City and coming to the set? I'm like, oh, no, James, we don't mind at all. I was like, oh, my God, this is so exciting. So we grabbed a bunch of art. We ran. We go there. We get through. We're VIPs. We're this or that. He invites us onto the set. We watch him film a scene. Ben Affleck went by. He actually farted in front of us, which I thought was hilarious.
Right.
And then
nice
James is in his trailer. He's like playing video games, just very down to earth, very fun. And he picked a bunch of art. I usually don't talk about my clients, but James is sadly not here anymore, and it's kind of a good story. And so...
Well, at least he wasn't the one who farted, right?
No. But he bought the Jester that drinks all the time and Sleeping Beauty. He said to me...
Clearly I need to see Sleeping Beauty again.
Yeah. You and I will have a play date. And so the Jester, and he goes... oh, this is perfect for Ben, because Ben was very Vegas and drinking. He goes, I'm going to buy this for Ben. It's going to piss off J-Lo. That was J-Lo round one. And I'm like, you're my kind of guy. So he picks some stuff, and then he was like, will you do me a deal? Do me a deal. And I'm like, are you kidding me? He makes $1 billion a second, and I'm just some animation chick.
Right.
So this is what I did. So because I really wanted to get the sale. So I said to him, because I'm hoping he tells his friends, all the things. So I look at him, and I just read People again, and he was getting $1 million an episode or whatever. So I looked at him, and I said it just like this. I said, James, I really want to work with you, so I'm going to give you a discount. I want you to be happy. I said, but, don't think that I don't know that you just got a big-ass raise.
Right.
I said just like that, and then it was silent. I'm like, oh, no. I just blew the sale.
hardball.
I pissed him off or whatever. I gave him the discount. And then it was like scary mafia silence, and then he started laughing. And he bought the piece.
Yeah.
He bought the pieces.
Bada bing, bada boom.
So that was probably my favorite celebrity story that I can
It's
tell.
very LA. It's a very Hollywood lore story. I like it. Wow, okay. And so do you get a lot of celebrity clients interested in animation?
We have a number of celebrity clients. Unfortunately, I can't talk about the other ones too much. A few of them have allowed us, to take pictures and use that. So I can talk about those. So Scott Stapp from Creed.
The lead singer?
Yeah, he's the lead singer
I
from Creed. Has
thought
a piece from us. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the basketball fellow. He's delightful. Everybody's really nice. Tony Hawk came by, the skateboarder guy.
Right.
These are just the ones I can mention because
Right.
they've let us, take pictures and things like that. And so a handful of others. It's always fun. It's always fun. We had a celebrity come by. Again, I can't mention. But last week, just down to earth, come in, just regular. They love the stuff too. They're in the industry.
And
So,
sorry for my memory, where is the gallery again?
it's in Koreatown, so
Okay.
it's by appointment. So
Oh, okay.
if you want to come, you wouldn't see us walking down. We're in an office. I did have a big gallery in Culver City for many years where you could just walk in, but COVID kind of changed the game, and people
I'm
weren't
sure,
coming
yeah,
in as much.
yeah.
And my folks liked working from home, so I said, you know what? We're doing just as well online. I don't need this building. So we sold it. So we have an office, and if you came, you would be able to see art, but it's not one of those galleries where everything's hung and labeled and all that. It's more like, what's in this super secret box? So it's kind of fun in that
Right.
treasure hunting kind of way.
I had a loft. Do you know where Traction Avenue is?
I do not.
It's right outside Little Tokyo. Did you say Koreatown? you said? Oh, I'm
Koreatown.
sorry. Okay. Never mind.
Different country.
Yeah. No, there was a little hub of artists' lofts, but in the 80s it was jumping. And then by the time I got mine in the 90s, it was a ghost town. But a lot of artsy types kind of running around there. But no, Koreatown's huge. So where are you exactly? I know you do it appointment only.
Yeah,
but
we're in Wilshire.
Wilshire,
So it's good there. There's parking underneath, that kind of thing. And then it's nice, people come by either with art for sale or, to buy some art. And
I
they
do
kind
have
of
some
like
things I can dust off from under the bed. We should talk.
I
'Cause
like underbed art. That's one of my favorite kinds of art.
Here's the thing, though. I definitely had a medical emergency, and I sadly auctioned off most of my retirement trunk.
Oh, no.
I mean, things walk out of the building. I had a lot of production art walk out of the building with me. That's all gone. But I have, just little studies. I don't want to say too much, but let's say Hunchback. We're just exploring the cobblestones for Feast of Fools, for example. So you do a little study of cobblestones, but it's not the production art that ended up in the film. So that's really all I have left are studies that are actually pre-production or visual development, but they're not sexy, they're just studies. So maybe I'll run those by you.
Well, I'll take a look. I'll let you know.
Sometimes
what you
they
got.
fly, like on eBay, maybe not so much in a gallery setting, but sometimes there's interest. Yeah, they're
Yeah,
not that exciting.
eBay is a tricky one. I think of it kind of Wild West. I've seen some things on there that.
Well, it was a guy named Steve Shanes. You got to make a full-time go of eBay. It's not worth it unless you make it a business. So I've only done heritage, like I said, and then Steve Shanes does online auctions, but he manages it all. So I think I unloaded some artwork on him, and it did sell on eBay, but it's his magic. I don't know if that makes sense. You don't bother with that, right?
I have a store on eBay versus auctions. So so we put some things on. But because of the eBay fees, it's always cheaper to come to our site directly. But some people do find us, on eBay, and we do sell some things anyway. But I just do the store, versus the auction, and it's this and it's that. It's just kind of up there, and then it's just another presence for us.
Believe it or not, I want to way backpedal, and I know I don't have you forever today, but where did your interest in animation art arise? What's your background?
So when I was little, when I was 10, I went to school one day, and another kid brought in comic books. I've never seen a comic book. I never heard of a comic book. I was like, what is this? What is this magical thing? It was Richie Rich's and Archie's.
Of course it
and I
was.
started collecting. I got my Overstreet. I was like, this, and there was a old bookstore that sold comics for like, I think 10 cents each, older ones. I had thousands. It was amazing.
Is that a guy thing, though? Like, how many girls were doing that?
Collecting comic books seems to be much more of a guy
I would
thing. It's
think-
not so much a chick thing. But
No, I have an uncle that it was that guy, in
Yeah.
the 50s and 60s and 70s.
I'm kind of tomboyish, so it
Good
tracks.
for you.
So then I left college. I was a trader on Wall Street, so I traded. I was in London, then I was in Tokyo. When I lived in Tokyo, my mother bought me an Archie cell. I had no idea what it was. I was like, you bought me a tiny little square of film, and
Were
when
there I guess, yeah. They were animated, too. It was a comic book, but was there an animated
so there is
series?
a not very good show. Well, it didn't go for a
What
long
was it
time.
called? Archie and the...
I think it's the Archie show. Or
The Archie,
I
okay.
actually, I don't sell a lot from that clearly because I don't know what it's called. And so she bought me this Archie cell, and I was like, it was like this switch flipped, and my life changed. I'm like, what is this? And so I put on my detective hat and things like that. And this is before
Pre-internet.
before the internet,
Right.
right? So I just started, finding sources for animation. I get my bonus on Wall Street. I would drive to a place that doesn't exist anymore, and it wasn't a gallery. It was more of somewhere that sold to galleries. Spend my whole bonus, come back with all this art, and I was just like, I loved what I do. I'm a very good trader. I loved it. But trading can be hard. It can be hard to be a female, and I'll leave it at that.
So you were a
this
stockbroker?
Yeah, I was a Latin
interesting.
American position trader and a Japanese
You might have
equity
said
trader.
that. Sorry if you
No, it's no problem. If you're not from that world, they all kind of sound the same. So for a generic term, stockbroker. For a specific term, I was a position trader, which is one of the hardest ones. And it's not an industry that's that friendly to females. And they asked me to
You're
do
a pioneer in so many ways.
Oh.
You were a comic book geek, and I'm not going to remember the term already. A positions
trader.
Yeah,
very
for you.
good. And then also they asked me to do some things that I thought were unethical and not the best interest of the client, and I wouldn't do it. So I resigned. I was like, I'd rather sell this animation that I love, and I will be a gallery that it's my ethics and I lose some sales sometimes because a client will come to me like, what do you think, this piece for me? And I will tell them, I don't care what price it is. I'm not like, buy this $10,000 one. I'm like, tell me your goals. Tell me what you're trying to do. And if the $1,000 piece is in line with the goals, then that's what I recommend. It's just who I am. It's how I'm wired. And I guess that's why, I've had a lot of clients that have bought from me. Some people only buy from me, for
Keep
decades.
it up. Ethics. Do you remember ethics? Seemed to be a thing of the past. So I like your business model, truly.
Well, thank
Especially
you.
when it comes to art. Like you said, if it goes straight from some trunk in an estate to somebody's home, you want it to be cherished and loved, and for the right reasons. It's not really it's not always transactional, right?
Yeah, we're not that kind of gallery. I mean, there's a few galleries that were more kind of like very pushy, and they're not around anymore. But I think different places have like different culture, So our clients like our culture. They like the way we do things, and so we get a really long. It's interesting when some of those, I'll call it higher pressure galleries, which aren't there anymore. But when people show us art for sale from them, it's interesting. Their personalities are usually not a great match because they were attracted to that kind of business model and pressure and things like that.
Well, that's kind of, I'm obviously asking leading questions because I want to steer it. The spirit of our podcast is really about story in all its forms, right? Story is propaganda, it's advertising. Sometimes story is hijacked for the almighty dollar. But we're just all about literary value, artistic integrity. So what do you notice among those that are a good fit? What is their love? What's their connection to animation? And what is it, a love of storytelling? Or is it a love of the archival physical artwork? Is it all of the above? Is there a profile for your clients?
That was a question. Okay.
Sorry. Welcome to my podcast.
Yes. I think I should have studied more before I said yes.
You know what I'm saying, though.
Yeah.
Do they seem to have something in common?
What I find is people tend to, it's kind of generational. I find that people like to collect what spoke to them when they were little. And
Nostalgia.
so, right. So when I first started, VCRs were starting, right? There was no DVDs yet. There was no, Netflix or Disney Plus, none of those things. So most of what I was selling, was the Cinderellas and the things, because the people from that era are the ones that had money.
Exactly.
I had a ton of SpongeBob art at one point, again, maybe 15, 20 years ago, tons of it. And we sold some right away. And then I took a position, if we want to talk about trading. I was like, I like SpongeBob. I think it's really good. And I bought a ton, and quite a bit of it sat there for a while. I'm out of it now. But guess what? Now SpongeBob people grew up, and they have jobs, and they have money. And now I'm getting loads of requests for SpongeBob. I'm like, where were you people 20 years ago?
Right.
I know
and
you were 5 years old with no
money.
Right. And so you see generational things like that. What I find interesting is also, what I like about animation art is anyone pretty much of almost any age, almost any culture, any country can walk in your house and they know that's Mickey Mouse or they know it's Homer Simpson.
It connects people, right?
Yes. And so I think that's fascinating. And one of the reasons I've sold thousands of Simpson cells, like a ton. I love The Simpsons. I know it very, very well.
Such a long-running show.
Such a long-running show. Matt Groening used to call me Gallery Chick when I had a booth at.
Of course he did.
Of course he did. And I loved it. I didn't care he didn't know my name. He was like, "Hey, Gallery Chick." I'm like, "It's Matt."
I was going to say, that's a status symbol right there.
Clearly, I don't do well in the face of celebrities. I tend to be like, "Well, Matt, it's Matt."
I geek out. Yeah. I mean, I grew up in. Sorry,
no,
make it about me for a minute. But I grew up in Burbank, and I
Okay.
would see John Wayne at the supermarket, and I would go trick or treating at the Fonz's house. Like,
oh my God.
I didn't bat an eye. Nothing really impressed me. Johnny Carson's son, I think we're similar in age. Johnny Carson's son was
I know
my
who
neighbor.
Johnny Carson is. Yes.
But if it's somebody whose work I admire, whole nother story.
Whole nother story. See,
Yeah.
I'm from Connecticut. We didn't have any celebrities anywhere.
Yeah, I wasn't impressed, but if I love their work, then I'm a babbling fool, and I should never approach them, and I do. Real quick, just for my listeners, there was a documentary about a gay couple that got together post-World War II in the 50s, and one of them was a commander, and then it was a sergeant or something. But in the 50s, they literally got everyone together and said, we're in a relationship. If anybody has a problem with it, speak up. Nobody did.
Yay.
So progressive for the 50s. Anyway, and then they'd been together for 50 years. So I just watched that documentary in Los Feliz. The lights came up, and they're like, and here they are. Like, I had no idea they'd be in the room. So that's when these 85-year-old men were, like, making sure I was okay.
Oh, my God.
I bawled like a baby, and I couldn't form words.
Oh.
So if I respect somebody, I'm a babbling fool for sure.
Yeah, no, I get it. So I don't know. It's really fun. It's a fun job to do. I meet really fun people. I get to see amazing art. A lot of people would be like, how do you sell anything? Well, I can't keep everything. I mean, I have my own collection. I don't know
that must
what
be
I have.
tempting, huh, to not let stuff go.
Well, it's interesting. It's what speaks to you. So I like super cute, like Bambi and Dumbo. I like super evil, like the Queen and Maleficent. And then I like special effects. So I love the dwarves blushing. I like the witch in the rain. I like Dopey with water squirting out of his ears. That's not for everybody.
Absolutely. It's
Whenever-
funny you would mention those films because my dad didn't do everything right, but he did take us to the 10-year re-releases of all. Remember, Walt's vision was to re-release them every 10 years theatrically. So my dad had a family of 6, so sometimes he'd slum it and we'd go to the drive-in, but sometimes it was the real cinema. But I was the right age to catch the 10-year re-release of Jungle Book, Aristocats.
Oh, how cool.
Sword in the Stone.
Yep.
All of those, yeah. And those are the ones I'm nostalgic about. So it's just the right age.
That's what spoke to you. Oh, wait, you're asking me about clients. So it's about, I think, what connects them. And I find that for Disney, it often skews female for things like Cinderella and stuff like that. It often skews male for Sword in the Stone and Jungle Book and things like that. And Simpsons tends to skew very male. But what's interesting about Simpsons is that some of the shows, like Rugrats, you don't really enjoy it. It's very little kid show. Simpsons, right, is almost double speak, right? The kids like it, the grown-ups like it. So the grown-ups are more likely to buy art that speaks to them,
Right.
So that's
the
my
Simpsons,
theory.
they say Simpsons is family entertainment. And sometimes the double entendres go right over the kids' heads.
Exactly.
But Simpsons is edgy. I don't know if it's family entertainment. It's for adults, in my opinion.
I won't let my kids watch Family Guy, although
Oh, that's what I was
I
going to
think
say.
they're
See,
secretly doing
Simpsons
it on
has
YouTube.
heart. Family Guy, nothing is sacred.
Yeah, so my kids are like, can I watch Family Guy? I'm like, no. They're like, you do this for a living. I'm like, no. But I'm pretty sure
That's a
they
good
found
boundary,
it on
yeah.
YouTube. So I have to look in their history, I think.
So do you feel like you have to keep your finger on the pulse of animation? Do you try to watch everything? I feel like I can't watch everything that comes out.
No, I can't really do that. And I sell the older things anyway. But here's what's interesting about doing this as a job. I can't just watch Cinderella anymore as a film because I'm like, oh, yeah, I sold that one. Oh, I love that
no,
cell.
right.
Oh, yeah, there's that on my wall. I can't watch it. I disassociate because I see it as the cells.
That's a bummer. Because I'm a filmmaker. I'm a live action. After animation, 11 years at Disney, I started making films. And I'm such a sucker for story that I wish I could learn technique by watching films. If a boom mic comes into frame, I'm out for sure. But
Yeah.
other than that, I get sucked into the story and I don't analyze. I wish I could.
It's just what I'm so used to.
What else would you like to quickly impart to listeners before we say goodbye? We're going to put your links. Any links you provide us, we'll put them in the episode description.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, if you're a new collector experience, please check us out at wwagallery.com. We're very happy, if you haven't collected, you're interested, we're very happy to answer any questions, no matter how basic. It's not a problem. One of my favorite things is getting new collectors to start collecting. It makes it really exciting. So you can be me from 30 years ago.
Right on. Well, thank you. You're very approachable, for an elite gallery operator.
Ooh, am I elite now? All right. Oh.
Well, you know
like
what I'm
that.
saying. That world can be, you're very approachable. And
Well,
thank you so
you.
much. Yeah.
Cheers. It's been a pleasure.
Of course.
Appreciate it.
Take care. Well, I'll wander by your booth a little bit later.
Oh, I'd love that.
All right, take care. Welcome back, listeners. We just recruited somebody from a couple booths down, and I really know nothing about them, but I know they're very charming, and I'm looking forward to learning more. I do know, or I believe, you, have a film in production, or is it already out?
It's in production right now. We're finalizing animation in December, and January we're going into lighting, rendering, and sound.
So it's sounds like CG, not 2D.
Right, CG.
Okay, so names first for our listeners.
I'm Gabriela Soriano.
I'm Julia Trevino. Yes.
Trevino, you said?
Trevino, yeah. Trevino.
Where are you from?
I'm from Puerto Rico.
And I'm from Mexico City, Mexico.
Okay. So you have a CG film that's in production, and then when is it due to be released? Do you have distribution for it, or are you taking it out to the film markets?
Well, first it's going into festivals, and it's going to be finished by May 2026, and that's when we're going to send it out to festivals. It's only going into commercial, like YouTube and stuff, next year, 2027, maybe by May too. So
Hopefully. We're also, it's our thesis for graduation. So yeah, we're hoping to getting into all the film festivals as possible, and then hopefully, if we can get one of the YouTube channels that publish animated short films to publish it, that would be great. Yeah, or not, we'll just publish it on our own and then do the PR by ourselves.
Yeah, there's so many distribution avenues now, right? It's all being reinvented, and there's so many options. You used to have to hit all the American film market and all the festivals and just hope to God you landed distribution, right? Now it seems like there's a lot of options, like for streaming and, like you said, YouTube. And
Exactly.
Yeah, and it's really nice that our school gives us the full rights of our film, and they're also publishing it for themselves.
Yeah.
And that's very helpful for us as the creators of the film.
Yeah.
One of my first questions is, you look awfully young, you must be in school. So this is a thesis project?
Yes.
Got it.
For our graduation, yeah.
Yes.
What school?
Ringling College of Art and Design.
Great school.
Yes.
Yeah. Good
Yeah.
school, very demanding. But
Oh, I'm sure, yeah. Well, I went to Art Center, and then I founded their entertainment track, and I taught there for 20 years. So I know all about demanding. Art Center's got that reputation too. But I know, I recruited for Disney a lot, even here at CTN. CTN? I sometimes say CNN instead. CTN. for years, and so SCAD, Ringling School of Art and Design, Art Center, of course, Cal Arts. Those are kind of the top schools. Your school has a really good reputation.
Yes, we're very proud to be graduating from there.
It's been hard, and like our class started twice as big as it is now. Like half of them like dropped out and stuff. So we're proud to be here. It's been hard, but it's we're
proud to survive.
Yeah, we're and it's really
That's
cool.
an accomplishment in itself.
It's really an accomplishment, and we're very proud of our thesis, and we're putting like all our heart and soul into it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to ask about it in a second, the concept of it, but I'm still stuck on the school. Do they have an animation track or an entertainment track? How specific is your major?
Ringling has a computer animation major, which teaches all parts of the pipeline. We go from story to rendering, lighting. The only thing that I would say we don't really get into is sound. Sound is pretty much outsourced, but it's the only thing. Like our film, we've done everything ourselves except the sound.
Do they give you resources to find a sound designer and a studio? And
Yes.
They have a really good studios, like sound studio, I think,
Yeah.
in part of the school, and they give us their services for free as students, so that's pretty cool for us.
Yeah. So
sound is my favorite. Scoring, Foley, and then production sound, marrying it all together is like an art in itself.
Yeah.
And honestly, as a live action filmmaker, it's my favorite part. I like listening to my movies without watching them. Have you ever done that?
ooh, no.
It gives you a tone and a mood, you know what I mean? From the other room. I've accidentally left my films playing and I'm like, I want to see that movie, you know? I love sound and I respect composers.
Yes.
For sure.
See, one of the things that we're crowdfunding for is for composers for our film. So that's one of the reasons we're here. We're promoting our films to be able to like raise enough money to get a good composer, good sound, because we know how important it is in those moments of silence that we really want people to absorb it. It's silent. Just pure, just white noise is not
Beautiful.
enough. We need the composer. We need sound to really.
No, you're speaking my language.
Yes.
Sound is so important. And in live action, by the way, it's the first thing to ruin a film. Have you ever heard that?
Oof, no.
Oh, yeah. No, you can watch a film and you're like, okay, that's a student film. It was shot in somebody's apartment. Disturbing location sound, they call it. Disturbing location sound is the first thing to ruin a film.
Now that
But that's not an issue with you. Because you don't have live actors, right?
Hopefully. No, yeah, but that's actually something, now that you say, that I've noticed with other thesis films from Ringling, that it sounds, you can tell that it was a student film because the sound is, they didn't have enough money to get a real composer, and it sounds.
Well, even the production sound, if it's
Exactly.
not clean, anyway. The other thing with live action, if they've shot it in a room, but it's just a wall, and they're shooting it straight against the wall with no Z-axis, if that makes sense. Like, okay, student film. They're shooting against a wall, you know. Anyway, there's a couple giveaways. But before I digress, who pitches the film? Do you have a synopsis? Can you tell our listeners what it's all about?
We have a synopsis. Okay, so
Ready, go.
a grandpa's telling the story of how he fell in love to his granddaughter, but he keeps getting confused with iconic romantic movie moments. That's the log
That's
line.
already funny. Is it funny? Okay, go.
That's the point. Yes. So it's a film about memory, about loss. It's about also like just how films can really like just make our
You and resonate with your moments in life.
Exactly.
That's their podcast.
Oh wow.
That's our podcast. Life is story.
Exactly. Yeah. Basically.
But also your worldviews and your value systems are a product of the stories you've been exposed to in life.
Yes.
So,
Literally, like our film is basically that, and like also how in their like our characters' specific kind of like lives, their movies have shaped their stories, and they are like their whole memory is like an influence of this movie. So it's so that's what we want to like represent, and then we want to make it funny. It's like physically funny and
Yeah.
so I might have interrupted your synopsis. Is there more?
No, that's
I just
the
got
log
excited
line.
because it's so much in the
Oh,
spirit of our
no.
podcast.
That's just the log line. There is more, but it's more like we want you to experience that part. You know.
Yeah, it was a great pitch
Yes.
synopsis,
Thank
but
you.
I got hung up on because you said he was older, right?
Yes, he's a
Was
grandpa.
he confusing or conflating his life with movies, or is that
Yes.
up to the viewer?
It could be interpreted, but it's pretty directly. He's trying to tell the story of how he fell in love, but he thinks his story is these movie moments. He thinks that Lady and the Tramp happened to him, that he thinks Titanic happened to him, and then the granddaughter's like, "No, Grandpa, like that's a movie. What happened? What was your story? What actually happened to you?"
I think that says a lot, right?
Yeah,
It does
yeah.
say a lot.
Yeah, like the most impacting moment of our film is when we finally get to the real story, and it's kind of like this moment where, oh, like the details of it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where we were. It doesn't matter like what was happening. It just matters that like I looked at her and I was like, this is it. This is yeah.
The emotional content is what matters.
Yeah.
Sorry, I keep rewording it, but I think it's really beautiful concept. Because, when you see Alzheimer's, I don't know if you've had family members, but dementia and Alzheimer's, they do start to confuse. Yesterday with 20 years ago, for one, but also maybe stories they've internalized
Exactly, yeah. And
with their own stories. But for me, it's like, and maybe in the spirit of the podcast, there's no real separation because the stories you've been exposed to do shape your worldview.
Exactly, yeah. And also like how, like it doesn't really matter what they were doing, but it's like the moment, it's like he fell in love with her. Like
The
that is
emotion.
the emotion is what matters.
Yeah.
The details don't matter.
Exactly.
So the one he's recounting his story, he said it's a niece? No,
It's a granddaughter.
granddaughter.
Yeah.
Does she eventually learn that lesson? Like, I don't need to correct him all the time.
I think at the end we kind of have like a funny moment where he goes back to the movie telling part, and she's like, "Grandpa," but I think she's more like, "Okay, let's just leave him to his like fantasies. Like it's okay because it's how he views the world. The movies is what he views the
beautiful.
world.
It's really beautiful because I have a mom that deteriorated with dementia, and I was never the one who would step in and give her the word. I'd let her take her time and find the word. I never protected her, if that makes sense. And then later, when she'd be talking like very coherently here and now, and then she'd talk about her dream last night as if it really happened, like in the middle of, and you're like, Mom. But I never corrected her. I just go, okay, so the tree talked to you? Oh, that's awesome. Go on, tell me more. I was always the guy that would just tell me more. Because her reality is her reality, and all that matters is she still recognized me, thank God. She never stopped recognizing me, and just the connections are what matter, the love, right?
Exactly, yeah, the emotion, the feeling.
I'm saying this all without having seen your film. But I like what you said.
Thank you.
No, yeah, we are. So it's like 3D. It's supposed to be funny. Like it is physically funny, and it's like heartwarming. Like it, we didn't really want it to be like more. Like we didn't want it to feel sad at any moment.
Yeah, we wanted you to like feel the emotions, but not be disheartened. Because at the end of the day, he still is in that movie mindset by the end of the film. Like that's not gonna change. That's how he views the world. But it shouldn't be sad. It should just be like fun to a degree. It's like that. His worldview is valid.
Yeah, I think the two can coexist, touching and funny.
Exactly.
It's the best way, right?
Yeah, that's what we wanted to make. Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, I can't wait to see it. We're going to wander by your booth.
Please.
Do you have some, what do you have? Like visual development art, production art?
We have a poster. Which we did. It's basically La La Land. So we were kind of like showing how we would interpret like a film like that. So in our film, we have a moment in La La Land, and we have a poster of that, and we just have our Kickstarter QR code. We have stuff.
Yeah, in our Kickstarter page, we can see like all the character, the modeling, and kind of like how the concept came to be, how we came up with.
Did you research La La Land much in this?
Yes, a little bit. Yeah.
Do you know Jacques Demy?
Yeah.
La La Land was largely influenced by the umbrellas of Cherbourg, Les Parapluies de Cherbourg. Have you ever seen that? You might want to watch it. There's a lot of nods in La La Land to Demy. And it's not Hollywood lore, but it's Paris. You might enjoy it. It's a really beautiful. It was the first rock opera on film.
Oh my God. Okay.
Or I guess operetta. Like every word is sung.
Oh wow.
But it's, I don't know if you're nostalgic about older films, but it's 60s, really like Breakfast at Tiffany's, really beautifully stylized.
Those are like my favorite movies are from the 1930s.
From the 60s?
She's very
Oh,
old.
that's really old, yeah.
She goes very old. I think I'm more 80s. I'm more of an 80s and
90s.
adelante
Yeah, before and ahead.
and after person, but she's really into the old.
It's a good, you complement each other, I'm sure. Who is your art director?
Well, we're both art directing it.
How would you describe, I'm just morbidly curious, what's the look of the film? Is it a...
Yeah, we have a very, like our style is very inspired in like later Pixar movies, kind of like Turning Red or Luca. Like that's kind of like the style of the characters.
But I would say I like thinking of it as very bold. Like everything like the lighting specific. We haven't gone to the lighting, but I'm very excited for that part. We want everything to be dramatic, everything to be like you know exactly what's happening, what you need to look at. It's very
Staging.
yes, it's very staging, very direct. I think is our style right now. We do not allow a lot of space for like just the flowiness of it. Sadly, there's not enough space for that in our film.
What do you mean exactly? The flowiness of the editing?
I guess yes. There's because our film it goes really fast and it goes and it's very direct. So there's not a lot of space for that flowiness of it. So we're kind of leaning into the bold aspect. You know.
Got it.
I think.
No, yeah.
You think?
And also she's very she's kind of like focused, and she had like the lead when we were designing the characters.
Yeah.
And we also wanted them to make them Hispanic because we're Hispanic, and also like the like for example, I connected with movies thanks to my parents, and I kind of like, and she also did. So like we kind of like wanted to also represent that kind of like relationship of how. So we kind of like established how granddaughter and grandpa they do watch movies constantly, and that's how the granddaughter got into like movies and stuff. We wanted to represent that, and also like from the Hispanic point of view as well. And also I am the kind of like I got like the lead when we were choosing the art for the environments. I mean, it was very easy because we had a lot of references from the actual environments of the films. But when we're like in the real world, we were very inspired in mid-century art design, and like we also had a lot of props.
Mid-century, you said?
Yeah, mid-century.
Okay.
That's what I'm like. My art is very about that. Yeah, and we
Anything specific? I mean, that's pretty broad, right?
Right. Yeah.
Mid-century.
Yeah, mid-century, kind of like architecture, kind of like
Art Deco.
kind of like leaning into Art Deco and like relying on like more graphic design. I guess.
Yeah.
More graphical shapes, more like very.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
architecture. There was, do you know what they called it mid-century modern, of course.
mid-century modern.
But there's also the really there's Bauhaus, right, and then brutalism. But the real boxy one is international styles. Does that mean anything to you? International.
Yeah, I guess.
It's very geometric. Well, I live in Silver Lake, so it's eclectic. There's a lot of
Because I do remember, I used to work at an art museum, and they had an exhibition about that. But
international. It's in my opinion boring.
Yeah.
Because again, in my neighborhood, you'll have a Victorian, and then a colonial, and a Spanish style, and even an Art Deco. Like in LA, there's this. Like, have you ever been to Union Station downtown?
I don't think so.
It's Spanish meets Art Deco.
Wow.
It's very LA, yeah. And so when you have all that in my neighborhood, when you see the mid-century like international stuff, you're like, it's just so boxy, you know.
Yeah,
We lost her. So anyway, I'm very excited. Truly, you're speaking our language, and I'm very excited to see. Do you have a trailer playing over there?
Oh, well, right now we still haven't done like lighting and stuff,
I
but
see.
we have like a little short snippets that you could see if you want.
A little teaser, I guess.
You
What
could
is-
say.
At your booth.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to come by. I'm very excited.
Yeah, and
So
then also, if everyone is listening, you can follow us on Instagram. We're posting updates about
Yeah,
it.
snapshot dot the film.
all right, just the film.
The film, yeah.
I love it.
Snapchat dot the film.
Virginia probably already told you, but we can put links in the episode description as well, and steer people to.
That'll be great for
the
us.
Instagram.
So much. Yes, we are like the purpose of us being here is to crowdfund essentially and like market ourselves, of course. So yes.
Do you have a QR code at your
Yeah.
booth?
We do.
You better get back over there and
Yes.
start recruiting people. But we will put any links you want. Do you have a website for the film yet?
We have like the Instagram
okay.
and we have the Kickstarter. We can put it here.
Okay, I'm going to let you fill that out. Thank you so much. You guys are awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for sitting down with us.
Thank you very much. And
Thank you very much.
thank you for the opportunity.
Truly awesome. Thank you for sitting down with us here at CTN Expo. For our listeners, can you just tell us your name real quick, and then to cut to the chase, what brings you to CTN?
Yes, I'm Chizu. I'm a student at Santa Monica College studying animation, and my professor, Rick Farmelo, invited me over
What's
to
the
the
name?
convention. Rick Farmelo.
He's right over there. Have you said hello yet?
I have. I just saw his little presentation. It
Yeah,
was
he's
great.
one of our. We're going to drag him over here
Okay,
at
good.
some point.
Absolutely. He's got to run soon, so you got to fetch him quick.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Did you hear that, Virginia? Rick might have to run. Rick Farmelo
Rick Farmelo.
might have to run. He's one of our. It's a little different. Have you come in past years?
No, this is my first time.
It's quiet.
Yeah.
I've done it for 16 years since its inception, and this is the 17th year.
Oh my gosh.
And Tina said it's intentionally more intimate this year.
Beautiful. Well,
But the rain doesn't help, right?
I think it does, right? If it does it not add to that intimacy,
I think
bringing people in
Yeah,
more?
but I mean, maybe that's why it's quieter. It's
That's
just
true.
much quieter than in past years. So you came to see Rick, and then what else brought you here?
Oh, well, I just approached your table because you had some beautiful art, and I asked you, I was like, is that you? Or you introduced yourself. It was pretty quick because your signature's all over your art.
Wow.
Your essence. So it was like, oh.
I mean,
That's
not to
nice.
get too esoteric too quick, but I taught for 20 years. Do you know Art Center College of Design in Pasadena?
No.
It's just called Art Center.
Wow.
So it's got a very generic name, but it's one
Uh-huh.
of the top design schools in the world.
Wow.
And then I worked at Disney, you probably heard me say, for
Yes,
Lion
yes.
King, Pocahontas, Hunchback.
sir.
So Disney often recruited from either Cal Arts or Art Center.
Wow.
So it's a good school. But the point is, I taught for 20 years
Uh-huh.
and visual development. So it's amazing how when you don't have reference, you draw, like I draw my grandfather for men or my sister for women. It just comes out of me. You can't help it, right?
Wow,
Or
yeah.
you saw a little impish something, right?
Something, yeah.
Do you draw characters that end up looking like yourself?
I don't think so. I think perhaps maybe more so in feeling, or maybe it's just maybe I'm not good yet. I think maybe I'm not that good yet.
No,
I
well,
think it's
other
something
people will
that-
see it.
Okay.
That's the other thing is like you can see people, everything, their worldview, their values, their
Yeah.
emotional imprint, and then weird like cellular memory or DNA,
Wow.
cultural stuff comes out. So a lot of my students are international, but there's always some little like flavor
tell.
of ethnicity or culture. Yeah.
I think mine is more so probably would be in the actual pencil of the art as opposed to the actual visual look. I guess all that matters is expression, right? Like so.
So you seem to have a love of storytelling. Did you say
do.
you're studying? Is there an animation program at Santa Monica?
There is. They have an associate's degree. They have a certificate. I'm trying to get the associate's degree, but I might get a certificate. It depends on how that pans out.
Is it a longer haul?
It's a
for
longer
the
haul.
AA?
Yes, it is. But yeah, they do have that program there.
And out of curiosity, do you learn the whole production pipeline and all the departments, or
Well,
which aspects?
Well, yes, you get the fundamentals down, and then I think it ends off with sort of like a professional development and jobs in animation type of thing. So you should be ready. The program says it promises to give you foundations to be able to work in the industry.
Yeah,
you know.
foundation. I
Right.
taught Foundation of Animation at Laguna Art Institute,
Uh-huh.
and traditionally for 2D animation, it was the old bouncing ball test,
Yes,
right?
yes.
The walk cycle.
I'm learning all of that right now.
And then a take. So it was
Yes.
those three things: bouncing ball, walk cycle, take.
Take.
Are you learning that in 2D, or are you learning it in like Maya or something?
I am
like
learning that in 2D.
Oh, right
I
on.
do
Good.
have a ZBrush class that I do not like. Sorry to my professor.
that? I've heard I've heard mixed things about ZBrush. It's very intuitive and user friendly, and it's a night. People that love Maya say it's not intuitive at all, and it's a nightmare.
Yeah, it's hard for me because I just don't want, then that's part of why it's the whole, like, I might do the associate's degree or not, because I'm not really interested in learning about the 3D stuff, but I know they want to give you sort of a robust toolkit, so that's why.
Well, there's speculation. I don't know if you've heard that 2D is going to make a comeback. Have you-
Really?
Well,
That's news to me.
it's the buzz, but yeah, you kind of have a wait and see attitude about it.
Oh.
But I mean, I've often sensed that just the archival quality of
Yeah.
the physical artwork has retained its value. Now there's nostalgia on top of it. There's Gen Z, Alpha, I guess, Gen Alpha.
Z and
Or which
Alpha.
one are you?
Z.
Okay. But they say,
Alphas are the iPad kids.
okay. Yeah, I've heard, they're starved for tactility,
Yes.
whatever. But when I started believing it is, Andreas Deja
Yes,
set up
yes,
a home
yes, yes.
studio and worked on Mushka this whole time. So he never gave up on it. But now the buzz is true. There's a lot of online articles saying, oh yeah, Disney animators, they have nothing green lit for the production pipeline in 2D, but they're absolutely doing little tests and training the younger animators in everything you
Wow.
just learned, the
Exactly.
foundation.
Oh,
so it's real. It's now
Good.
whether or not it pays off at the box office And,
It's a
you know,
different
the
story.
Bob Igers of the world choose to keep greenlighting things. We'll see. But
Well, I'm all here for it because it's accessible. You know, it feels more accessible. There's so many resources now. You know, we could just go back to pen and paper, pencil and paper. There's iPad, Procreate, all these softwares. So I think that to me more than anything was the draw. It's just, well, I want to get this out. What can help me do this, as quickly as possible? And that's 2D.
yeah, I agree. There was a mentality at one time that, I mean, the reason 3D, because the public doesn't, storytelling is what matters, right?
Yes.
The technique and the medium and the format does not matter. The
No.
public hardly knows the difference.
Right.
You know, I've conducted little tests, like how did it hit you emotionally? And they'll have an opinion, but I'll say things like to an IT guy, a friend of mine who's an IT guy. And I said something about the modeling when we came out of Madagascar. And I said, did you notice the characters? No offense to anyone. The characters. I said something about the polys or, the sharp edges on the model. And he goes, the what? And I said, well, you realize those were modeled three-dimensionally in Maya. He had no idea, and he's an IT guy.
Wow.
But anyway, at Disney, I was there for that whole transition, and the mentality was a paperless system was the goal for a long time.
Wow.
And it is more cost efficient. I mean, God knows with AI on the horizon what's going to happen, but it always...
There's a cost, right? Yeah.
I think there absolutely, and it's about the intent.
Yeah.
But I agree with you a little bit, and the tool doesn't matter so much, the storytelling does.
Yeah.
And if you can do it on Procreate in a 2D fashion, go for it. There's room for all of it.
Just tell that story.
Is that kind of a goal? Do you want to get your own stories out there, like maybe in the festival circuit, or no pressure?
Yes.
I'm just wondering.
I think so. Eventually, that would be the idea. I think right now, I guess it's a bit more intimate for me. I just I want to act. I want to do so many things. I want to become so many things, and I can do that with animation. And so I would just love to. Well, firstly, I want to do something, and I want to do it well because I'm an artist, so I do have some sort of standard for myself. So eventually, yes, I do want to make films that I do want to. I do want to have stories that are competitive in the way that. Because when you're putting out a film, right, you have a chance to change narrative, right, to really prioritize certain conversations, and plant seeds in people's minds, and so that's what when you go to these festivals and put your films out there, that's what's in competition when you're talking about storytelling, right? It's who's going to have this dominant, who's going to have this power to really have a platform to who's going to have the power to really change, sway public opinion in a way. So I am interested in telling stories that, are like that. Like I remember when Parasite came in, that's not an animated film, but that was the last great film I think that I can remember really everyone's talking about it. And that's what you want. And it's not like the story was crazy or extravagant, but it was just the way it was told, So stories like that, I think.
Yeah, I think I follow you. I mean, the subject, we're talking a little bit about commercial versus art.
Right.
Which is as old as time, right?
Yeah.
So there are all these conventions and tropes and the Western storytelling structure and all these formulaic things that make a film more commercial, right? That guarantee it'll do well at the box office.
Right.
But it's kind of like you're saying you want to find a balance between your voice as a storyteller and then reaching as many people as you can.
Yeah.
Because the only reason I mentioned the festival circuit is because I think there should be a final step in the creative process that's about what happens when you're done.
Ooh.
Does it collect dust under the bed? Does it reach one person in a cornfield in Iowa? Does it reach the masses?
What's your idea for that?
I think it's very individual and personal, I think, but I know that the films I respond to have kind of what you're hinting at, which is a subjectivity, a flair, a worldview, and that has nothing to do with the almighty dollar or the box office. I don't know if we're talking about the same thing here.
No, I think so because we're all artists, right? Like storytelling, language, telling a story. But at the end of the day, we have to make a living, right? And I think that's really
No, you're
that's
supposed
something
to.
I have to
You're
ask.
supposed to starve for your art. Come on.
No, I'm not interested in doing that. First of all, I can't do that. Like, I get too worried. Like, I moved here to LA to do acting, and like,
Where are you from?
Dallas.
So
Dallas,
you probably
originally
already said
from
that.
Nigeria.
Oh, really?
Immigrant-
Okay.
Yeah, immigrated.
Wow, that's quite a
My family
culture
as a child.
shock.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I had like a whole change. Like I was supposed to went to med. No, did not go to med school. My God, it was pre-med. No, I did not. Don't know where that came from. Pre-medical, but I had sort of this pivot. Like I had to fight to sort of give myself the right to be an artist. So that's where I come from.
Is it family pressure or so?
Of course, family pressure.
Yeah, there's a whole the book that became the podcast, just a whole chapter on all the voices you have to silence.
Really?
And some of it is socialization, some of it's family.
And that's where I'm at now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it'll happen. I do think in a lot of cases you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. But if somebody's a true storyteller, and that's what I was hinting at earlier, is like getting your story out into the world is an end in itself.
Yeah.
Regardless of the financial
Exactly.
element. So that does drive some people, and I think it'll happen if it's meant to be. And wild horses can't stop you.
Wow.
Do you know what I mean? If you're
You said wild horses can't stop you? Can't stop.
can't stop a true storyteller that's passionate about contributing to the collective. You made me say it. Do you know what I mean? Like, permission is overrated. Sitting around waiting for permission.
Yeah.
Life's too short for that. No, it seems like you're doing it, so you're
Thank you.
following your passion.
Yes. And I appreciate you for saying that.
Well, I don't give advice, but there is a whole chapter on my book about finding your voice, I call it. And then it's like, okay, style is one thing, but the voice that shines through style is a whole nother thing. And it's what I was hinting at earlier. Your worldviews, your values, your sense of aesthetics, all of that stuff, you can get in touch with it, but until you connect it with a sense of purpose in the world, why do I do what I do? It's just a kind of like a tool in your toolbox. But I do think most artists kind of figure out why they're doing it in the first place, and you seem to have that drive to tell stories. Am I projecting on you?
No, I don't think you're projecting. I do count what you're saying as a blessing, and so I claim it, So I wouldn't call it a projection. I'm grateful to hear you say those things about me. But I do have a question for you, because you said you don't give advice. Like why?
I apparently
Right,
I do.
you don't give advice, but like why do you don't? No. I didn't mean you were giving advice, but like why don't you give advice? Like why? Like
Because everybody's got their own journey. In my teaching, again, at Art Center, I really initially, the day before starting, this was a million years ago, but I taught for 20 years, but I was at Kinko's. Remember Kinko's?
No, I don't.
Really?
What's
I
that?
was color Xeroxing something.
Okay.
And a young person came up to me and I said, yeah, I'm starting teaching tomorrow. And she really challenged me on some light logic or color theory or perspective or something technical. And I was like, oh my God, is this what I'm in for?
Wow.
And so early on, I would always try to fall back on a tried and true principle so that it wasn't my opinion. I didn't like to say anything definitive, if that makes sense.
Right.
I got over that the first week. Do you know what I mean? Like, I still like to fall back on foundational principles or traditions that exist. But I guess I was saying I don't really give advice on one's career trajectory because I have 22 nieces and nephews. So I gave up a long time on, and one of them was an artist. And that's why I say you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink.
Can't make a drink, yeah.
He's an amazing artist. And I threw up, you know what I mean, like
What was the
opportunities.
water he was being led to?
Storytelling. He's a great storyteller. Maybe animation, maybe live action. He could do anything. He's so talented. But there was something going on. I introduced him to Don Hahn. Do you know who Don Hahn is?
No, I don't.
Well,
Wait, Don Hahn?
Don Hahn, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Producer of Lion
Yes,
King
yes,
and
yes,
Aladdin
yes, yes.
and
I know that name.
Beauty and the Beast. I literally introduced him and he pitched to him, and it didn't really go anywhere. Don gave some very nice advice. But I just over time learned if he's going to do it, he'll do it. No matter how many opportunities I try to throw in his way, if that makes sense.
It's up to him.
It always is. We're kind of all over the place here. Of course I give advice. I'm getting older now too, by the way. So you find yourself giving unwarranted advice sometimes.
It's a good thing.
But I tend to just preach in general, but I think everyone's got their own journey.
Yeah.
Do you still encounter the family pressure, and you still have to quiet those voices and give yourself permission? In other words,
Well, I've done that. I mean, moving to LA was not. That was on my own. I saved money from teaching actually, so I taught English in Dallas for a year, and substitute teaching is sort of what I do part time here in California as well. But
did you teach English as a second language, or
no, just English.
in like the public school system?
No, charter school.
Charter school.
Yeah,
Wow.
'cause you're not. I'm not certified, so yeah. Taught at charter schools.
So, what was the biggest? I've lived in LA my entire 57 years.
Wow.
Well, I lived in Paris for work. I lived in Jerusalem for work. I lived in New York for work. But I tend to. This is my home.
Wow.
So I often confirm or deny some of the tropes. What was the biggest culture shock of moving to LA? You hinted about something like that's when you got over your permission thing, or
Well, I already intended to. That was something I did for myself. I already intended to do that, so
Oh, I see.
I was going to get that no matter what. But big change in LA. I think it's just. I can have something not positive about LA. If you want to spotlight LA in a positive way, and I'm not going to do like, oh, people are like, or celebrity. It's not that. It's not that at all. It's just I think.
I'm not like butt champing the bit to defend it.
Yeah.
I've heard it all, but
Yeah.
I was just you kind of hinted that it was.
Well, I will say
maybe-
that LA has a lot of opportunity here. And I moved here for artistic opportunity, but I found so much more. There's just the people, there's so many great organizations here, like nonprofits that really do like a lot of work. Like this city almost, it's like it can't function without nonprofits because there's just so much. I almost feel like if I had gone to high school here, I would have reached so much more because I think there's just very much an infrastructure to really help people here somehow. If you're an artist, there are like scholarships or grants or even education being so accessible here with Santa Monica College, for example. I'm a resident, and just because I'm a California resident, my tuition's like
Did they do away with tuition entirely?
not entirely, but because of my income, like I'm able to just go for it, like almost free.
Yeah, it used to, because I got my GE out of the way in junior college, and then I got a lot of it out of the way at Art Center. But it was $50 a term a million years ago. But I thought they passed a measure to make all
Yeah,
community
I think they have
college
that.
free.
Yeah,
Okay.
they do. But that's because I already have a degree, so it doesn't count.
I see.
Had I not had my bachelor's, I would.
Yeah, there's an irony there too. I was on the scholarship review board panel at Art Center, and it was really up to the department chair. Ultimately, we would all just whatever he wanted, but you got more money if you were awarded more scholarship opportunities if you already had debt. If you already had private scholarships, somehow that moved you up a notch.
Well, that's
Isn't that
backwards.
weird?
Yeah, that
I
is.
don't know why. We're a little off topic, but anyway, yeah, LA. I have heard one distinction between New York and LA. Have you ever hung out in New York?
New York, no, I've never been, and I don't find New York attractive. I think it's too busy.
Well, I used to joke because I went a lot in the early '90s. Like even the pigeons are on crack. Like it's fast paced, but even the pigeons. So I went deep in Central because I did work there for Blue Sky.
How was that as an artist working in such a city like that? Because to me, it feels like I imagine something like that to be a headache. Like, how do you have time to almost breathe?
Right. Well, that's where I was headed with my anecdote. Is like, I went deep in Central Park. There's an area called the Ramble, like the most wooded part of Central Park. So I'd go with my sketchbook. I never lost sight of a human being ever. So if you're an artist who subscribes to the somewhat romantic idea, do you know Rilke's Letters to a Young Poet?
Yes, I do.
So all true inspiration comes from solitude.
Yes.
I think that's a little romantic, but we all get it, right?
Yes.
True inspiration, you got to still your mind, if not complete solitude. But I
was
never.
just at Central Park.
Okay, well, you know the Ramble.
Yeah.
I never lost sight of a human being. So I actually found myself going to Brooklyn for peace and quiet.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, we artists need to
Yeah,
not
we
just
need that
decompress, but we need
solitude time.
solitude for
Absolutely.
inspiration. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So not for me. But I guess my point was like people say, "Oh, LA, everybody's social climbing and, trying to. Everybody's ambitious, and it's like, I'm sorry, I grew up here, so I don't see any of
Yeah,
that.
it's in a certain scene. It's just I think it's certain spaces that you have to go to really see that, but generally that's not the majority. Like LA is so huge.
I was gonna say,
and that's not the majority of people here.
It's
actually,
whatever you want it to be.
Yeah.
It's like a Rorschach test, yeah. So when people say, oh, the casting couch, or it's so superficial, it's all silicone, and like, where do you hang out? Are you hanging out on Canyon Drive in Beverly Hills? Because I don't
Exactly.
see that. But that aside, the distinction I was trying to make was somebody once said, yeah, everybody in LA is ambitious. Same as all big cities attract people with dreams. But it's a little more like, and now I'm rethinking it because you have Broadway, you have a lot of creatives in New York
In New
for
York,
sure.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
But at one point it was like, it's more like, the stock exchange in New York, whereas here, even if they're ambitious and they're social climbers, at least it's founded in something commendable, like a desire to tell stories or change the world or whatever.
Yeah.
New York can be a little more consumerist, a little more maybe
Yeah.
about the rat race,
Well, how do you feel about it then? I'm sure the city's changed, right? And like you even
I was
really
born in 1968.
Yeah, yeah, but you highlighting, I mean, you are in great shape for someone born in 1968.
Thank you.
I hope that's not offensive.
Thank you. No.
But yeah, because you just told me that, I'm like, wow, really? But
My point is I've seen it change
right,
big time. Yeah.
right. You've seen the city change, but what you said about it being founded with this artistic,
Dream. At least people have a dream. Yeah.
right? But now with the money thing, right? We're talking about back to the art versus money. Where do you see that with the city? Like,
I think it's not affordable at all. Just like New York, its cost of living is way out of control. Is that one answer? It's prohibitive. You're making me preach a lot. Yeah.
I meant more in terms of the driving force behind, like creating great. Like, do you think the city's intentions artistically have shifted to like something more, like putting money first, right, instead of putting the art first? Like,
I don't know if it's an LA thing, but I'll say nobody's going to want to hear it. But it's.
You think it's an everywhere thing?
Oh yeah, I think the world has changed since I've been on the planet hugely.
Well,
And
why not be an LA thing? Because LA is such a huge part of that conversation, right? Hollywood is here. The arts, if this is the bedrock, right, of art, like, why should it not be an LA thing? Like, why should it not be the responsibility of LA to take that responsibility and take that blow? Like,
why not? I'm down for it.
okay.
I was just trying to distinguish like LA from the changes I've seen across the board.
Okay.
And I just was going to preach a little bit. It just seems like art. I grew up, even when I went to art school, you had this stuff pounded into your head, not just Letters to a Young Poet, but what is art? Well, it's in the eye of the beholder. What is beauty? Well, it's in the eye of the beholder. But you did have certain things like, artistic integrity, literary value. There was just this list of things that constitute. Now we're bombarded with, no offense to anyone, vacuous content.
Yeah.
And content is very different than story that transforms, right? So advertising hijacks the word story to get in your... Not like open your heart, but open your pocketbook. Like now these are phrases coming from my book, right?
Yeah.
So for me, I think we're really lost, and I don't want to be a downer. But people lose sight. I mean, even me, I'll watch too many I'll binge too many shows on Netflix, and I think I don't even know what story is anymore.
It makes me sad to hear you say that. So what gives you hope these days? Is there anything that you've seen that gives you hope?
Well, do you like Cuarón? Do you know the filmmaker Cuarón?
Alfonso Cuarón?
Yeah, and he did Roma.
What does he do? Yes,
like
yes.
mid-pandemic.
I've seen that. Yes.
And he's one of my favorite filmmakers. And he even said, all right, this is going to be a hybrid release. I recognize it's theatrical, but most people are going to be watching Roma while making out their shopping list or filing their nails at home while doom scrolling. But he was excited about the hybrid release. So I was like, okay, adapt or die, but don't be excited about it. So that saddened me to hear him say he was excited about a hybrid release. So you know what I mean? I am a dinosaur and I'm a purist.
Right.
So I do think it's scary that if I write a screenplay and I go, wow, that doesn't have the cliffhanger like a Netflix, because I do think the writing is genius for streaming. Streaming series are pretty genius. But yet, it makes me lose sight of, the old independent films, art films, experimental films, foreign films that I grew up with. That, like my screenplays, nobody would ever want to make them. I'm the only one that can make them because they're not clever enough. Do you know? So I'm just hopeful there will be. The pendulum always swings.
No.
And this wasn't supposed to be about me. But in the '90s, there was. Do you remember Il Postino, like Water for Chocolate?
No, I don't. Tell
There
me
was
about
just a run of Life is Beautiful. There was a run of experimental films that got wide distribution, and some of them won
Postino?
Oscars. Il Postino, yeah.
it. Okay.
And then it was right around the time Miyazaki's films got distribution through Disney, because they started recognizing, there is a market
Eastern,
for these.
yeah, or
So that's hopeful. Like there are pendulum swings where suddenly art has a place, but right now there's so much noise in social media and so much content that I don't know. We need to, I guess, redefine what art is. Sorry, did I get too broad on you there?
No, you're fine.
What do you think? What's the future of storytelling?
I don't know. I think we're just in it right now, so we just have to sort of see. I am kind of responding to what you said. I just.
Well, you probably see a lot more underground. You know what I mean? Like there's talent out there.
Oh yeah,
and there's always a new form.
Yeah.
But I'm just not seeing it. I'm talking about the mainstream. Maybe the mainstream's tastes are pretty non-existent. Like even I joked on Insta. Like my whole goal is to bore my 5 Insta followers. Like I'll frame it. It's art, right? But nobody wants to see a root of a tree. I'll do twisty roots. I'm like, that's gonna get 5 likes, and I'm okay with that because there's no tits or ass.
That gets the likes, yeah.
Yeah. So it's a scary trend that, like, people do lose sight. They don't even know art when they see it because whatever.
Even the word content, like calling it what happened to calling it media?
Well,
like it's just media. What happened to because like language
Content.
is so important. Content is what? Content what? This is content. This water bottle has content.
Right.
Like
It's such an empty word.
And I feel like it happened on accident. It started with the YouTubers. They started saying my YouTube like it was, and then it just picked up, and now we're framing things by content creator.
Right.
As opposed to titles like socialite or media personality.
If you're a content creator whose goal is not just to contribute to the noise, if your goal is not to open pocketbooks or grow your platform, if you're doing it to contribute to the collective because that's how we fucking evolve as a race, your intentions are in the right place, and you no longer have to call yourself a content creator. You can own, I'm a storyteller, I'm an actual author, I'm a filmmaker, I'm an auteur.
Some people got to eat, I guess, Something's going to train the algorithm for Instagram. But I don't know. I think they observe a very interesting, space in the digital frontier that we are in. I think it's like a job that, I think throughout time you have jobs that just like, what's that job? I guess and I think it's the content creator now is that I just maybe just don't like the title. I think maybe I'm an advocate for the content creators. Like they deserve a better.
It's a reductionist title.
Exactly something more purposeful because, and that might change. Because sometimes your title changes where you come from, right? Because even as we're talking about artists. If you're drawing or you're making a film and you're thinking of, is this gonna sell well? No, you're kind of like that. You're being framed by another language, not the artist's language, right? So, it's like if you call it we can sort of prophesy, with a name. Like when people are born, right? People name their children. At least in my culture too. Names, they carry sort of a promise and
or they become their name.
Exactly, or it can become a curse, or so many things. There's again power in language, right? So maybe
it's well, language of the soul.
Language of the
Words
soul.
are important. Words carry weight,
Yes.
But yeah, we could retire that term. But I'm a dinosaur. I'm allowed to preach. I do think we're hitting a tipping point where we are seeing the downside of the content. I mean, there's still some changes in youth. There's literally calcium deposits on the back of the skull.
Oh.
That couldn't be good. There's desensitization. You know what I mean? We got to
I don't
turn
know
it
about
around.
I haven't heard about the calcium deposits though. I don't.
Okay, but you know about the brain stem. Like, there's no executive function capabilities, really. I'm overstating the matter.
Uh-huh.
But there's many studies that,
Wow.
I guess it's
Dude,
the
just a
dopamine
lot of-
fix and that whole addiction
Yes.
uh,
I was teaching.
erodes the executive function. But the one I'm talking about was before all that. And the headline was, "Millennials are growing horns." You don't remember that?
No.
And then on further examination, they're not horns. It's just where the tendon attaches to the skull, there's calcium deposits that are becoming more prevalent in youth because they're
Wow.
always like this. Google it. I'm not making this shit
no,
up.
I will. I don't think you are. Just haven't heard about it.
But no, we're just differing a little bit. You're saying the word isn't the best. I'm going on to say I don't judge anyone. It's an awkward moment where, again, I have 22 nieces and nephews. They're all content creators because there's nowhere to land, right? There are no jobs. They don't want to contribute to the rat race or work for the man. That's all commendable. They want to use their gifts and contribute. That's a beautiful thing. But we're in an awkward place because, jobs are becoming automated. They're being replaced by AI. And everyone's like you said, God, got to make a living. So I'll get a podcast.
Yeah, but this is something. You're
Well, yeah,
writing
yeah.
a book. That takes effort. That takes you have something to say and you want to say, and you're like, this is an extension of that. So.
Well, I'm sure we're part of the problem and not the solution. But we think we're contributing something worthwhile. But some shirtless content creators bench pressing their cats or cooking naked or reaching for the bottom drawer in yoga pants, may not be worried about humanity or contributing to it. Do you know what I mean? It's all
Or
about
they
the
might not recognize what they could be doing. Like more they could Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we're giving a forum to the tits and ass, something like that. Anyway, how should we wrap it up?
Well, thank you for this is a conversation. I felt feelings,
Oh, right on.
Absolutely.
All
so
right.
I thank you for engaging with me and giving me this. Thank you to your partner as well.
She's just nodding and smiling for
Being
now.
so welcoming.
It's true.
Yes.
Well, we'll insert your comments in the metadata. Anyway, thank you so much. And
Thank
what are
you
you going
so
to do
much,
for the
sir.
rest of the
Convention?
Do you have a 4-day pass, or?
I do.
Right on.
So I'm just here to explore. Some people I want to meet. I want to meet Ron Husband. I don't know where he is.
You've never met him?
No, I've never met him
Great
before.
guy.
I need to meet him.
Does he have events on the schedule, or does he just have a booth?
I saw him on the thing on the website. It's hard to My friend has a schedule. I'm here with my friend too, so I think I lost him.
Better go. But I worked with Ron for 11 years.
Oh, no way.
And then both his kids, do you know his children?
No, I don't.
Beautiful human beings.
I don't know them.
They both interned at Disney.
Wow.
And then he went over to Disney Publishing, I believe. Is that where he is now?
Ron Husband?
I think
have
he's
no
at Disney
idea.
Publishing. And so I would freelance for them, and I would often go in and see him. So we have a big history together.
Wow, please, if you see him, tell him I'm looking for him.
I will.
Okay.
You'll find him. I
Yeah.
think he has a booth, but he's definitely doing events.
He has a booth
on this,
in here?
I don't know. I know he's on the schedule. put
Oh
it
my
that
God,
way.
I'm going to run in there. Find him.
He's very approachable.
Okay.
He's a very nice guy. All right,
Well,
thank
thank you,
again.
Mr. Dominic.
All right, enjoy the rest of the convention, I guess.
Yes.
All right,
I
man.
will.
Thank you for
Thank
sitting
sir.
down with us.
Of course.
Take care.
People know who
I
you are?
am Ed Gertner, master of layout. No, I'm just kidding. I have spent 45 years in the business and went to CalArts for 4 years. And from CalArts, I went straight into Disney and worked on movies from Fox and the Hound through... What was the last one I did? The short projects like Lorenzo the Cat, but the last feature I did was Atlantis.
Okay. You just named two of my favorite films. So I liked Fox and the Hound and I liked Atlantis.
And years apart.
And they're years apart. I remember going to see Fox and the Hound as a little girl and I cried my eyes out.
That was an interesting movie to work on because It was a crossover time at the studio. The old guys were still there, and the younger guys like us were trying to come in and show what we can do. And frustrating for both sides. But I was lucky enough to be able to work on the last shot of I think it was the last production multiplane shot that they used in a feature. Somebody said I think they used it in one of the other features, but anyway, it was the last shot of the picture, and I learned how to actually set a shot up on the multiplane camera, and which was a lot of fun, but it was also very tedious, and I was extremely nervous because they told me when I first got it, we've got 5 levels. That's all you've got. It's got to be in one take. Okay, we'll try this. So, because it was on film, we shot it, and 2 days later we got the film back, and there was one little jump in it. And so I said, we got to do it over. And they said, well, now you've got 3 levels. And I said, wait a minute, I have to refigure all the moves to make it 3 levels, and it's going to take me even longer to... Why can't I just reshoot it? And they said, well, it takes 10 people, 2 people per level, to shoot this, and money was tight at that time.
Yeah.
And so I had to reset it up, and luckily the 3 layers worked. But at the same time, working on that picture, there were problems that came up, and Glenn Keane had taken on the bear fight sequence.
Okay.
And it was very not extreme, not exciting enough. So he reset it up, and I laid it out for him to do. And so once that came in, everybody's going, oh yeah, that's it. So it was really nice to see us younger guys being able to creep into the world of the older guys that had been established there. And then after that, I went on to the Black Cauldron.
Okay.
And that was quite interesting. It was that was very tedious. In layout, it was C-scope, which meant that it was really wide and very narrow.
Yeah.
And the art director at the time wanted us to crosshatch, which means just taking a pencil on the side and draw lines instead of a single line for shapes. He wanted us to render it all.
Oh my gosh.
And there's usually about 1,200 to 2,000 scenes, and there were 10 or 12 of us in layout at the time. And it was going on and on and on, and the background painters weren't following the cross hatching. So why were we doing that? And I found out he just wanted them to look good. So.
Well, and I'm curious because Black Cauldron ended up getting kind of closeted for a while. So how was it like to see a film you worked on that basically in many ways is kind of is known as a cult classic now, to see that happen?
Well, it's funny because I wasn't having a good time, and I knew that it wasn't being done the way I was taught.
Right.
And here I am at Disney, and I said, I'm just not feeling it, basically. And luckily for me, they were setting up a unit to do animation for Epcot and Tokyo Disneyland.
Okay.
And so they came to me and they said, would you like to be an art director on... I was 22, 23. Okay. I said, yes, I'm gone, bye. And so I went that way, and Cauldron kept going much.
Did its own little storyline of appearing and disappearing and reappearing.
And what happened there what happened there was management changed.
Okay.
That was the movie where a lot of the older guys retired or they were pushed out or however they left the studio, and the younger guys started coming up. And I was glad I wasn't in all that mix because it was the head director retired and the other directors switched sequences,
Okay.
and they redid sequences that were already done in color, which I don't know how management allowed them to do that, but they did. And so I was off doing my thing with Florida and Tokyo, and then came back onto Mouse Detective.
Oh, another one I know well.
And I was able to be art director for about 6 to 8 months on
Okay.
it before they took me off of that. We went through 3 or 4 different art directors. And management wasn't sure who they wanted, and it just kind of rolled around a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But in the end, it looked good. It was a nice story. I got caught up in politics.
Okay.
Not my doing, but because
Nature of the
my
business.
position, I got caught up in it. And I just didn't like what was going on, and I wanted to be at Disney forever.
Yeah.
And they had paid for my schooling, and so I'm like, well, give me something else to do. But I got an offer from Phil Roman to do the Garfield TV specials,
Okay.
and I said, okay, I'm gone, and figuring that maybe when things smooth out, I'll be able to come back, which they did.
Yeah, I was gonna say because you came back.
Yeah, and but I spent a year doing the Garfield specials, and then after I even came back, I did more Garfield stuff as a freelancer. And but I came back and I went to Disney TV. They had just started TV division, and I worked on DuckTales. They had done Fluffy Dogs and Gummy Bears.
Mm-hmm.
And then now the next one was DuckTales.
Right.
And
So I'm curious as you're talking about, because you went from doing film to now you're doing more like these, basically Saturday morning
TV, yeah.
morning cartoons. What was that like to go from a film to like something that's a constant running storyline?
That's the thing, and we had all the time in the world on the features. I mean, it was just like you really should probably in production, if there's keys, layout keys. You should be able to do a layout one a day, maybe day and a half, which means you should have 5 turned in by the end of the week.
Okay.
Well, at TV, when I got onto DuckTales, there were 2 of us doing a 22-minute show, and DuckTales, they went everywhere in the universe.
Mm-hmm.
And the 2 of us, we each had a show apiece. We had to do 30 layouts in 1 week.
That's a lot.
And we were, after about a month, we both went in and said, we can't keep doing this. That's way too much. And so they cut it back for us, how much that we could do. The writers could just compress it a little bit.
Yeah.
But as you were saying, it was fast. You had to get it done, and it had to be right the first time.
Right.
Which I enjoyed because it was like, good, I'm done. It's off.
Yeah, off to the next project.
Rather than, I'll just draw, and then I'll draw again, and then I'll draw some more. And it was nice to be able to do that and get paid for it, but mentally as an artist, you want to just put it down and
move
get it done.
Yeah. So I'm curious because you also said because the writers had to condense it. So I know for me, I always thought, oh, you guys are in there with the writers and you're storyboarding it out. And so it sounds like that's not always the case when it's on TV.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So really how it worked was we got a script. And it was like, okay, exterior of the house. In about an hour you had a rough. And by the end of the day you had to have at least a finished layout. And that would go overseas.
What was one of the projects you enjoyed the most working on in your career?
Which movie or TV?
Any of them.
I actually like pretty much everything I worked on. There's a couple things later on in my career that I didn't have much fun doing. It was unfortunate, but I think when management saw us just as workers,
Okay.
just get this done. Here's the idea. Just get it done. We lost the interest. Lost
Yeah.
in the emotion got lost.
You weren't as
It
passionate
became a
about
job.
it. So the passion was starting to go in those moments.
Yeah.
And that's hard because, I mean, that's what you get into doing this, right? Is because
Yeah.
you're passionate.
Yeah.
And unlike, someone who uses words to write a book or like how we've got the podcast here, I mean, your expression is through the
Yeah.
artwork.
And as an example, after DuckTales, Disney decided to do the Winnie the Pooh series.
Okay.
Now, they had done the two shorts back in the 60s.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're going to do the series, and I was art director. And I went back. I said, people see Winnie the Pooh, and especially Disney Winnie the Pooh.
Right.
I got to look at what was done before, but add something to it.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. And there were 22-minute shows. And it got to the point where we were like, what do we do with this stupid bear? 22 minutes is, believe it or not, is a long time. I think, oh, bother. So
Yeah.
we suggested that we did one season of 22 minutes. And then after the first season, the producer, who was the writer, didn't want to be the producer anymore. And so he wanted to just go back to writing. And I and somebody else was asked if we wanted to direct and produce. And I said, sure.
So that was a change.
So I jumped up into directing and producing, but I was still art directing also.
So how did you like that when it came to telling story?
Oh, that was great. I mean, because I had full reign.
Yeah.
I didn't have to go, oh, I don't want you to do that. Only in my own head.
So you feel like the creativity was more there for you.
Yeah. And we had such good artists that I know that if I came up with an idea and if somebody else got a hold of it, it would be good.
Okay.
And that, I won an Emmy for that.
Oh, wow.
And it was a good time because I had to stretch the Winnie the Pooh idea because, like we said, how many things,
Yeah.
he grabs a honey pot, being chased by bees.
Yeah.
So what we did, came up with the idea of let's have the other characters tell part of their story rather than just Winnie the Pooh. So we took ideas from Tigger and Eeyore and Piglet and even Christopher Robin. And we did I think there was a 22-minuter that we did with Christopher Robin of Crud, who was the monster under the bed because the kids throw all their stuff under the bed.
Right.
That it was so messy, his mom told him to clean it up. And the monster was Crud. And they shrink and they go underneath the bed. So we tried to take the story and stretch it out, kind of like what's happening now with Wicked.
Right.
Where you had the story, but take it from somebody else's point of view.
Exactly.
And I was able to do film noir, like with Tigger. We did I can't remember the name of the show now. It's been 40 years, but it was black and white.
I have
And
not
the Monster
seen that one.
Frankenpoo, that's what it was.
I'm gonna have to go find that now because I'm a Tigger fan.
And-
So
Yeah, and it was fun because we did a section and then we came back into the 100 Acre Woods area.
yeah,
It came to the point where I had suggested that we give Tigger his own house because he lived with Piglet in his house.
I guess I never thought about that.
And so what I had thought was, let's do another 22, that there's another flood in the 100 Acre Woods, and the guys feel sorry for Tigger, and so all the stuff that gets pushed into the 100 Acre Woods, they took a barrel and all sorts of stuff, and they built Tigger his own house, a treehouse.
The treehouse, yeah.
And I built a model of it, but management didn't go for it. I still got the model at home, but
Oh, wow. Because, I mean, I know in the Tigger movie he's got the treehouse, but yeah, now that you mention it, I'm like, I never thought about it in the original Winnie the Pooh movies.
yeah.
He doesn't really have a house.
Right, right. And so it was things like that. And after that, I did, hello, I'm losing,
Age, right, gets to us.
yeah, too many things in the head. Not Rescue Rangers, but at the same time we were doing Baloo. Oh my God,
You'd mentioned Atlantis. Was there one? What was before that?
I'm forgetting Tailspin.
Oh yeah, Tailspin. That's
so I
true.
did.
Yeah.
I directed 13 episodes of Tailspin, and that was fun because it was more teenage. It wasn't so simple a story.
Yeah.
And we could do different things. We had bad guys, we
Right.
and I had my 13 episodes in production already. Some overseas, a couple had come back, and I got a call from Features. And they
Okay.
said, how'd you like to be layout supervisor on a show called Beauty and the Beast? And I went, really? Well, let me find out, because I had a contract.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, yeah, I would love to. So I went back they allowed me to go back to Features. And they had just brought back Beauty and the Beast from England. The Purdums, who were a couple in London who had done films, were going to do Beauty and the Beast, but management didn't like the direction it was going in. It was very stodgy, very European,
Okay.
and too realistic for them, I think. And it was. But they grabbed about 20 of us and they threw us on the main lot
Okay.
and said, we want to see a sequence in 3 months. Being in Jeffrey Katzenberg's office, and he said, and if you guys can't do that, we're just going to have to close down feature animation. And we're like,
And you're like, no, that's not going to happen.
and so we went and we did Be Our Guest.
Okay.
And they loved it, of course. And so I got to design the part of the castle.
Mm-hmm.
I was the final design. There's so many people who work on all this stuff.
Right. There's a team of you.
Yeah, so I did the final design on that, and I designed actually all the design on her house, Belle's house.
Okay.
We had a meeting one day with Jeffrey Katzenberg, who was in charge at the time, and the original thought was that Belle lived in town, but she felt an outsider. And I thought, well, if she feels like an outsider, let's make her an outsider.
Yeah.
Because her dad's a wacko. He's the guy that I know that lives down the street that has all the cars on the front yard because
Right.
he's messing around.
Yeah, tinkering with everything.
And so I put my drawings up, and Jeffrey walked through, and he said, "Oh, that's kind of interesting. She's living in town." And I said, "Well, let's look at it as if she feels like an outsider, then let's make her that and put her house outside the town with her dad's junk out in the front yard because that's what you would see in real life."
Right.
And he went, "Oh, okay." And everybody else kind of went, "What? You got Jeffrey to what?" So
yeah.
that's where that came from. And in my career, I was a designer, and then when production came around, I was layout supervisor. So I could, I already had my drawings that I
Okay.
could hand out to the crew, and in general, we had 15 to 20 people on the layout crew. But feature films would take about 3 to 4 years at Disney. And on this one, when we started production, it was almost 1 year to the day that we did all the layouts for.
That's fast.
And
Yeah.
it was. And it showed how, not necessarily, I mean, we did it fast, but it was still good. There were some things I'd like to.
Probably change now. Yeah.
You look at it,
Yeah.
go, oh, we should
But
have.
you had a good collaboration of a
But
team.
we did it.
Wow. So I'm
And-
curious because working on Beauty and the Beast, now that they've done the live action, which I'm sure that must be hard as someone who's like, I worked in animation, I was in feature film for Disney, and then now it's live action.
It's hard to hear what certain people made.
That's true because you're paying. Yeah.
Because we made good money at Disney. I mean, I granted, we weren't millionaires, but
Yeah.
we made decent money. But when you see people who are using our films and copying our camera moves and
Yeah.
staging, and they're making like $10 million, that kind of sticks in your ribs.
Right. And then I'm like, and don't get me wrong. I mean, the live action wasn't bad
Yeah.
because I was concerned because
Yeah.
I mean,
No, it was okay.
you
It
know,
was okay.
because Beauty and the Beast as a featured film it's a classic.
Yeah.
And so when they made, like, they added some songs and they made some changes, that's the hard part because you're like, but this isn't the show I grew up on. This isn't the movie I'm used to.
It's a strange thing in Hollywood that I've noticed. The companies, and I understand the business end of it, you want to put something out that's pre-sold.
Mm-hmm.
Great. It's pre-sold. You can do 1, 2, 3, and 4. But at the same time, what are you trying to do with it?
Yeah.
How and for me it was because I was a part of it. I art directed the Human Again sequence that we did at 10th. I think it was the 10th year anniversary,
Okay.
and we added the Human Again song to it.
Okay.
So at that point, I had done all the original stuff, so when we added that sequence in there, it looked like the picture.
Okay.
But nowadays, they want to change it.
Yeah.
And to me, when you're telling a story, you want it to resemble what the people remember it as.
What the magic was about
What
that
and
story.
what the magic was. And I
Yeah.
think that's what's making Wicked work, because they caught the magic of the art that was in the original Wizard of Oz,
Yeah.
pushed it up a bit, and you're telling a different story. And to me, that's brilliant,
Right.
because you're using the story in some way and changing it so that you get a different point of view.
Yeah.
And to me, that's great. I had problems later on when Disney tried to do DuckTales, the new version of DuckTales.
Yeah, I heard that they were trying to redo that one.
And to me, as a businessman, you already have all the designs. You've got backgrounds. You've got the characters. You've got animation.
Right.
And now you want to change the design of the characters and where they live, and you're to me you're defeating the purpose of wanting to do more other than making it look different.
Yeah.
But people, if the people want to see it, they want to see what was originally done. They don't want something new.
Yeah.
It's false.
That's how I felt when my kids started growing up, because that's what happened kind of with, I know it wasn't, I'm trying to remember what it was, with Mickey Mouse, but it went from like the traditional feeling of Disney animation to this, I don't even know what to call it, weird looking.
Yes.
They looked weird.
Warner Brothers got away with it. And this is my example of what I was saying with oh my God,
Is it not Chip and Dale?
their lineup that Spielberg did. Oh my God, there goes the brain again. Animaniacs.
Oh yes.
Because they did the first group and they stopped doing it.
Yeah.
And it was 10 or 15 years later, and they redid it not too many years ago. But they used the same character design and some of the same people.
Okay.
They didn't want us who worked on the first DuckTales to be on the second one.
Yeah.
And to me, through my education and talking to people who have been in the business, whether it's live action or animation, you don't want to lie to your audience.
Right.
Because there's somebody out there who knows what a lie is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that falls into our politics these days. But I won't go there. Anyway.
Yeah, no, I understand. No, but you're right, because there's kind of like the nostalgia is there, and even when the younger generation comes up, the point is their parents, their grandparents, like all of that's being instilled in them.
If they know about it, they've seen the old stuff.
Yeah, and so when they change it, because I remember looking at some of the new animation with Disney on, my kids watch the Disney Channel. They're all older now, but when they were growing up, and I'm going, they kind of look balloonish. Like they don't have, like, there was no softness to them. It was like CGI, and I don't know what tried to have a child on the TV screen.
If an audience notices that sort of thing, it's the same thing in The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
Right.
And it shouldn't be. It should be, this is what it is.
Yeah. But then I have heard that there is kind of like a renaissance coming back in the art world of old animation, because people miss the tactile way it just presents on the screen.
It's funny because I've taught a few times, and I like giving lectures, and animation is exactly what the term is. It's taking a drawing and making it move.
Yeah.
And whether it's CG or AI or whatever, it's got to start with a drawing. Mm-hmm. And you got to put it down on paper, or you're just, I don't want to say cheating. You're grabbing parts of something that doesn't work together and trying to make it work.
Yeah.
And that's not animation. It's a form of art,
right?
But it's not.
I feel like it's not relatable.
Yeah, yeah. It's almost like moving illustrations or moving advertising.
Yeah.
Because even my teachers came out of, back in the 1920s, came out of advertising.
Okay.
And they taught me what they had to do to make a person look at an advertisement. Mm-hmm. They had to force the viewer to read all the either the type or what the pictures are.
Right.
So they had to do multiple horizons, and you had to draw so that it would carry the eye down to where you wanted them to see,
Yeah,
or
so-
up, or wherever.
Right. To basically to
Yeah.
bring the viewer into that
And the
world.
only difference with being in animation is that you had a camera to move.
Right.
And basically, they were doing storyboarding.
Mm-hmm.
And even today, the famous directors, even live action, use storyboarding. A lot of people don't these days. They'll get in and they'll put characters into or whatever you want to call them, into a program
Yeah.
and move them around and go, this is what I want, which is okay. But when you get on the real set, what are you looking for?
Yeah.
You know, things progress and things change, and having computers helped me a lot because you can change something in a hurry. Control Z. You can
Yeah.
draw Control Z. It's really strange for me now because when I'm actually drawing, I'll do something and I'll just be free forming and I'll go, well, I'll just take this up. Oh, I have to get an eraser and erase the line.
You're like, oops.
Yeah, I can't press a button to make it go away.
Right. But I was going to say, too, with the way animation was done before we really got into like the computer animation, right? The CGI, and now we have AI.
Yeah.
I feel like, as you said, now animation just, put it into like the screen, right? And it's, I always think of it kind of like a green screen kind of concept, basically.
Yeah.
And so you don't have the background, you don't have all the stuff around. I feel like it loses its presence, its humanistic quality to it.
For me, animation is a true group effort.
Mm-hmm.
It needs to be, because I worked at Disney for a long time. I would be in the meetings, the story meetings, and then I would be in with the storyboard guys because the key shots would probably be done by layout people,
Mm-hmm.
and the storyboard guys would do the character poses.
Right.
And then after that, we would lay it out because we did the key poses and then give that to the animators. And then after that, it would come back to us and we would give it to the cleanup people. And then it would come back and we'd give it to, at the same time actually, when it was being cleaned up for animation, the layouts would go to background.
Right.
So at that point, we had like two people we had to answer to. The cleanup animators, and because if we had something like a car driving on a road,
Uh-huh.
we had to make sure that it stayed on
On the road, right.
And if it went behind a tree that wasn't an overlay, a separate
Yeah.
level, we had to put a registration line. So we had to deal with background, and then at the same thing with the animation.
Yeah.
They had to have the same registration line to make sure that they didn't draw past that point. So, and then you would see it each time in dailies and go, okay, it's working, and hopefully you never saw, oh, it's not working. But nowadays, everything, people can work at home. They could be in a different country.
Yeah.
It's strange for me,
I bet.
but people like Sergio Pablos, who did Klaus, they did it in about 6 different countries. And,
That's crazy.
each sequence, that was good. You can, if you're smart, you send them a group, a sequence, and let
Right.
those people do those. But to put it all together, and
Yeah.
that's got to be strange.
Yeah.
Because you want to know where's it going, and if
Right.
they don't do all of it in one place, like, animate it in Brazil and bring it up here to be painted, what if something that they did in Brazil doesn't work? Who fixes it?
Right. Yeah, that causes a problem.
And that goes into the cost.
Yeah.
You got to stop it, you got to return it, or you got to get somebody to do it.
Yeah.
So it's an industry that has to be balanced between inspiration, what you can do, and money and
Right.
cost, because it's not cheap.
So I,
The period about Beauty and the Beast on, it was $1 million a minute
I'm
to do
sure.
it, and the movies were 90 minutes long.
Yeah.
So,
It's,
and that's if it went smoothly.
right.
So, yeah.
It's fascinating what it takes. Well, I don't want to keep much more of your time, but here's the one thing I want to end on because I'm kind of curious. So the whole premise of our podcast, of course, is life is story, and so I'm just wondering, out of all the years that you've been working on various ways of telling story, what does that mean to you when you hear that? Like, what does story mean?
As a kid, I didn't have a lot of friends my age.
Mm-hmm.
So it was up to me to find my own thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was like, well, either draw or build things and fantasize about what I could do. And when I go to a theater and I see an audience watching what I have done,
Uh-huh.
or somebody, with a stuffed animal or something that from what I have done, it makes me feel good because they got what I got.
Yeah.
And I did it well enough that people really enjoy it. I get more pleasure out of people seeing what I've done or what we've done and
Yeah.
enjoying it than, me just completing something and putting it out there and going, okay, next.
Right. Well, and I think what I'm also hearing that too is when you're seeing the audience, when you're in the theater and they don't know that you've worked on this project, right?
Yeah.
Or like
Yeah.
you said, I see somebody walking around with a stuffed animal from a movie that I worked on.
Yeah.
It's also the fact that, oh wow, they get what we were trying to do.
Yes.
And
Communication is working.
yeah, exactly. And it doesn't matter what our walk of life is. We all were able to share in that
Yeah.
together.
The only thing that bugs me is when I run into somebody and say, "Oh, I saw that when I was a kid." Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for making me feel old.
Thank you.
Well, I'm sorry I said that I saw
No,
Fox and
no,
Hound's
no.
Kid. But here's the thing. It is still my all-time favorite movie, just so you know.
Which one?
The Fox and the Hound.
Oh.
It is my all-time favorite movie.
The Hunter.
I love that.
and-
I love that movie to this
and,
day.
The one time I can say, well, we can go if you want to shut it off.
Yeah.
I worked on Fox and the Hound 2 for when Disney was doing their directive
Uh-huh.
and it just wasn't the same. It wasn't the same.
I
I did
bet.
a little bit of work on it.
Well, it's one of my. It is my favorite movie. But thank you for
Yeah.
coming on and spending
Yeah.
some time with me.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for listening in. That was it for day one. That's all the interviews we got, and it was more than enough. We feel like we struck gold and couldn't be happier with the inspiring content. So in that spirit, please do tune into part 2, day 2. We caught up with Russ Edmonds, Mark Andrews, Seth Kearsley, Aaron Blaze, and Joshua Pyun. Some more iconic Disney legends. And, animation artists get around too, so even if they're Disney legends, they also may have worked on a DreamWorks film or a Pixar film or two. So, I think you need to tune in just my opinion, tune in to the second day at CTN Expo in our second episode. Remember, life is story, and we can get our hands in the clay. Individually and collectively, we can write a new story. See you next time.
We want to take a moment to thank our wonderful listeners and supporters. Your continued support and sharing of our podcast helps us spread the transformative power of storytelling. If you enjoy our episodes, please rate and review us on your favorite platform and share the podcast with friends and family. For more enriching conversations and insights, subscribe to Language of the Soul podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and anywhere you listen to podcasts. Follow us on social media and visit our Patreon website for the latest updates and exclusive content. Your support helps us continue to bring these important stories to life. If you'd like to support us further, consider joining our Patreon community for exclusive content and donation options. Every bit of support helps us reach more hearts and minds.